In Ruku 5 of Surah Al-Zumar, where it mentions that Allah takes away the souls of human beings at the time of their death and during their sleep. Hundreds of people have reported at times they find themselves outside their physical bodies, especially at times of great crisis, near death in hospitals. Should we regard it as all imaginary, or could there be any reality in it?
I think there is more evidence for us to just reject it as imaginary or concocted. There is certainly evidence regarding what they refer to as out-of-body experience, OBE. In short, it is referred, it's called in parapsychology. And scientists from different scientific faculties like physics, chemistry, etc., they have been implicated such names as are above any possibility of being involved fraudulently in any such thing. Some of them have also been Nobel laureates. And the results of such studies, which I have read, indicate that there is growing scientific evidence of certain powers endowed to man which have not yet been understood by man, which are not the same powers as we understand as chemical, responding to chemical laws or physical laws, etc., etc. They are some powers which cannot be measured as yet. We don't have sensitive instruments to measure them, yet they exist. And those powers sometimes create certain situations under stresses particularly, which are normally not explainable. And that is why they appear to be bizarre or mysterious. OBE is also, falls into that category, OBE. But this is most certainly true, that we feel out-of-body experience. We have out-of-body experience, which turns out to be true in the light of the following events. I'll come to another interesting point later on, but let me first speak a few more words on this. It does not mean that the soul leaves the body. If the soul leaves the body, then it can never get reattached to it. But the soul does not occupy the same dimensions as the body does. It is something belonging to a different dimension and much wider, as if in space. I don't say in space, but as if in space. So sometimes if it is activated to a degree or excited to a degree that it takes over some functions of the brain and directly, without the help of eye or ears, begins to see or hear, then those experiences can be referred to as out-of-body experiences. And such experiences have an authenticity in religion.
I must say that I had one of those experiences on the night that I became an Ahmadi.
Is that right?
Yes.
Please tell me before we finish this.
Well,
it's very interesting.
From a personal point of view, after I prayed and accepted Allah as the thing that I wanted, I went back to sleep.
Yes.
And then I had the sensation of somehow looking down on my own body, and it was tied by a cord of some sort, and then I floated out of the room, and I floated into a church where this Christian girl had been preaching to me, and I looked down upon her, and then I floated out of the room, and then I went back into my own body. And that was such a vivid experience. It was far more than an ordinary dream.
There was no outside evidence related to this. But what I'm talking about is a step further. If you had ventured to go to the same church and had seen it immediately after the dream, while the memory was fresh, you might have detected some objects lying in a certain place in a certain style way, which you had witnessed in that out-of-body experience. what I'm going to quote now is an experience by Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salam. Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salam was once writing some book inside his room. In those days, and even now perhaps in Qadian, there is a custom that some sweepers or sweepresses, they come and sweep the courtyards and also the toilets, etc. So he was writing, and suddenly he started seeing outside in the courtyard, as if he was there. And he observed that sweepress to sweep this courtyard and pushing all the dirt and filth and refuse into one corner and not taking it away with her like she should have done. Now, that experience was over, and Masih Maud Islam left his pen and papers there, walked out. The sweepress had already left, and exactly in the same corner there was that refuse, litter, still lying down, exactly as he had seen. So as Masih Maud Islam quoted this, it does not seem to have a that spiritual type of experience which the prophets have, because it doesn't seem to have any message for the benefit of souls and humanity at large. But one message, of course, there is more to it than you think there is to your bodies and souls. So such experiences have been scientifically recorded and compared with some simultaneously happening experiences, with one difference, that in those experiences ordinary people were involved, but of the similar nature. In these controlled experiences, those people were involved who were known to have some psychic powers, who had experienced some psychic powers in the past, so they recorded them in the presence of those scientists I have been talking about. And the results are surprising. In these experiences, as compared to other natural happenings, the evidence of these people who had no knowledge of what was happening in a certain corner of some place, they observed the things and they remembered them things, having seen the way they were happening, and again they tried this experience upon dogs. Some dogs were familiar and very deep, not familiar, but deeply attached to certain people. So they were taken into a sort of tunnel, and the tunnel the dogs had not seen before. But the person on whom they were experimenting, he was familiar with the tunnel. He was told to go and stop, as if concentrate on going out and stopping at certain corner. And in more than one case, many cases in fact, the dogs after a while became conscious of something, and they started moving towards that corner where he was concentrating on his presence. Now this happened, I don't say so many times in the sense that out of say 50% of that, not at all. But even if it happened 5% times, they experimented the same thing with others, and it did not happen even once, even to 1%. So these meager evidences, but quite indicative of